What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Mint City Soccer Show. I'm one of your hosts, David Gussler. I am full kit wanker today, so that's why I have, for the visual medium here, you've got me looking this way for a minute. But just to give you a little peek behind the curtain real quick before I introduce my co-host and producer here, we were having some fun before the show, and I told them I kind of have this Fred Durst vibe going on right now. And we were just talking about it, and David Gussler, what are you doing? Exactly. So I just have to do this very limited fake Fred Durst impersonation real quick for the audience, and then we will just kick the show off. But ladies and gentlemen, introducing Matt Swift. So there you go. There's my limited fake Fred Durst from Gastonia. So Swift, how are you, buddy? How are you doing? Our viewers just plummeted, by the way.
I was doing good until the Fred Durst thing. But you are good at that voice, sir. It's good to be back. It's good to see you guys. And it's good to be celebrating a win on Monday night.
It is very good to celebrate a win, man. It's a good feeling, and it's don't know how to really explain it, but it's our first time ever having the first game ever be a win. I'm speechless here, but Corey, how are you, buddy? I'm glad to see you here as well.
I'm good. I think I've argued this for a long time that the team needs to lean into its local music roots, right? So we need more Limp Bizkit at games. I still say that All My Life by Casey and JoJo needs to be sung at every game.
You've been pushing that for a long time.
I haven't said this in a while. I've kind of laid off for a little bit, but I still say that needs to be a part of every single match. Just imagine the whole stadium singing All My Life after a game or something like that. It'd be beautiful. Let's lean into those local ties. And
I just really want the stadium to do the oh baby all in unison there after you say All My Life. It'd be great. So I think one of them lives in Lake Norman still, don't they?
Yeah,
I don't know if it's Casey or JoJo or what, but
they're around. They're around. I mean, I know we've got other musical acts around, but I think we need to lean into the Fred Durst of it all and the Casey and JoJo. Let's just lean into those two.
Just Fred. Let's get them both. Let's get all three of them on the capo stands and have Fred Durst freestyle with Ryan Bailey on guitar. So
I do support someone else that said P.D. Pablo. Definitely lean into the P.D. Pablo. You can't go wrong with that. So
I'm sure no one wants me to see me take my shirt off and twist around my head like a helicopter. So I'm sure we'll save
I don't think anyone wanted to see you with your hat back sideways either. Talking like Fred Durst. That's all right, man.
Yeah. So I'm done. All right. I'm just derailing the show today. That's my goal, is just to derail this completely. So first episode of the new season, and I'm just going to derail everything. So it's fine. So
it's good. We're in a good mood, man. We're in a good mood. It's all right.
That's what happens when we have a good coach and we actually win a game to kick off the season, right?
We turn into Fred Durst. That's correct.
Awesome, man. Well, so I'm really excited to have this show kind of kick us off here today, and we're excited to have. We've got a little bit of an agenda tonight, trying some new things and some conversations, but really want this episode to be driven by you, the fans, and putting in that chat your questions, thoughts. What do you want us to talk about during the game, or what happened during the game? So please, post them in there. Corey's monitoring the chat. He'll pull things up randomly, like the P.D. Pablo from Greg a few minutes ago. Gussler out. I'm seeing that pop up. That's good. Damn it, Gussler. Thank you, guys. But no, we're excited to be here. So Swift, I mean, how was your tailgate experience for the first game of the year, man?
It was good. We had a really good turnout. It was just nice to see everybody's face again, and just being able to share that experience. It was a nice day. Lots of new faces too, which is always good. And I think everybody's just really excited for this third season. Even before the victory, I think there was just this new sense of excitement and possibility. And I think the coach and some of these new player changes have a lot to do with that. But I think everybody's just ready to get back together and get to the swing of this thing. And it was a really good turnout.
Yeah, I had a blast. I don't know if people saw, I posted a picture. I was on the drum line for a little bit there on the march. So I had a good old time, brought my drum up. I still have it in the garage because I'm trying not to bring that thing inside, but it was a good time seeing everybody and seeing some new faces. We actually had people come up to us and be like, is that Matt Swift from the show? And I was like, yes, that's Matt Swift from the show. So they didn't care about me. Actually, I had one person or two people come up and say, are you the corn dog guy? And I said,
I heard someone ask about you. They were like, hey, where's David from the show? And I was like, he's over there acting like Fred Durst. Go talk to him.
Yeah, David, you're building a real brand like around corn dogs and Fred Durst. That's a real choice you're making with the personal brand right now.
It'd be great at state fairs.
Watch out, Raleigh, North Carolina State Fair 2024. Here we go.
But I texted you all this, but just I'll put it on the show too. But I have a guy that I go to church with. He's an older gentleman, and he's great. And all he wants to talk to me when I see him on Sundays is just literally Charlotte FC, just nonstop. He talks about the podcast all the time. And he stopped me on Sunday. He goes, I finally got a chance. I met Matt, and I met David, and I met, who's that guy y'all had on? Who's that guy who's so smart? I was like, oh, Vaughn. Yep, you met Vaughn too. So y'all are celebrities. Just what I'm trying to say is he was very excited to have met y'all at the tailgate.
But we're not the smart ones. Vaughn's the smart one. You caught that, right? Who's the smart one? Vaughn. Yeah. Who are these other clowns? Oh yeah, Matt and David. Cool.
I immediately pointed to the QC Royals tent. I said, that's where all the smart ones are. Go into that corner of the tailgate, because you're not going to find them over here where Mint City is.
Yeah. Speaking of, Vaughn was on WFNZ today, representing us at I think like 3:45 today. So good stuff there. He deserves it.
Make
too.
sure.
I
was just going to say you can go back and listen on the WFNZ app or their website. It's Kyle Bailey, his show, and at 3:45 Vaughn was on there. So make sure you go back and listen to his interview there.
Yeah, we bombarded Kyle Bailey today in his show. We wanted to make sure that Charlotte FC is well represented on the radio show, and because I there's a lot of us that feel like, especially Kyle, doesn't talk about Charlotte FC a lot, and it's a lot of like Braves baseball and Orioles baseball. So yeah, we wanted to have a text line campaign, and at 5:15 we just bombarded him. And if you didn't get a chance to listen to that, it was pretty hilarious. He took it all in good stride, and I think he knows like we want him to talk more soccer. So that was cool.
Corey, did you happen to catch that? Because I know you were a former sports media guy. How would you feel if you were doing a radio show and then like thousands of text messages came in about corn dogs and Mint City and soccer and Charlotte FC? How would you react to that?
It would depend on what time of year it is, right? Because there are certain times of the sports calendar where you need that filler content, and someone coming in with some nonsense like that would be a boon, because you'd be able to fill those 4 hours of airtime that you have much more easily than you would otherwise. So it really depend. There's no Panthers. They don't take up so much of the airwaves. So you're the Hornets are the Hornets, even though they're better now. It's not a basketball podcast, but things are going well there. But sometimes you just need something fun to talk about. Yeah. So I'd take that occasionally. Now every day, different conversation, but every now and then it's fine.
Yeah. So don't worry, folks. The talent of the show, Swift, will be right back. So I see that. I see that in the chat. So don't worry. So Corey. So Corey, did you go to the game on Saturday or what?
I did. Didn't make the tailgate because I have children and have never been able to get childcare early enough to actually make the tailgate. Other than I think the season opener, I went to the tailgate and that was it. So unfortunately, I don't get to enjoy that very often. But I did get there early enough to get caught in the wake of the supporters march, which was fun.
Holy crap. That was intense, dude. So I don't know. I'll ask your thoughts on it in just a second, but so give context. I'm sure folks who are listening to this or watching this was there at the game, but that march, every single first game of the year is always intense. They always open the upper deck. Last year was New England. The year before was LA Galaxy, and it's 60,000 plus people, right? And they all go to the tailgate. Spirits are high. We haven't lost games yet or anything like that. So this was the first time I was on the drums for the march going up to the stadium. And let me tell you, I had this 28-inch bass drum strapped to my chest, and I'm walking down playing this thing. I felt cramped wearing that thing. And so people were like shoulder to shoulder, bumping into each other. You had the banner there. There was people, I've never seen so many people on the march outside of maybe the very first game against LA Galaxy. And it was insane. So, I mean, did you get stuck in it when we got up to Mint Street?
Yeah, well, and so I come up, I park on Summit. I shouldn't give away my parking spot. That's fine. But I walk up, so coming up through the tunnel there, basically, as you're going, under the railroad tracks and all that. That's where I hit y'all. But yeah, I agree with you. Like the only time I ever remember seeing it like that was the first match when it was so crazy. So it was cool to see. I mean, I knew it was going to be a good crowd. I knew it wasn't going to be quite as big as we've had at other season openers, but to see that level on the march, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be this is going to be a good night." So it set the tone. One poor guy that was carrying a flag, who I don't think is used to carrying a flag, seemed very confused. He got way behind, and I think he tried to go into the wrong entrance, and his flag got confiscated. So
Oh no!
I couldn't tell which supporters group it was, but somebody's missing a flag. Hopefully, they got it after the game.
Was that
he was like,
person
"I don't know
named
what I'm doing."
Was that person named Matt Chantry? Because Matt Chantry had a flag behind me at the start of the match, and then somehow when we got to Mint Street, was way in front of me. I think he probably was just like, "Screw this! I'm just gonna run ahead and just keep going." So, rest in peace to that flag. I don't know what flag it was, but rip to it. So, welcome back, Swift. I just have to say, Swift, the minute you got off the show, we got instant messages saying, "Where did Swift go? Oh no, we lost Swift." So the talent, I know. So
it's clear who's most important on this. Yeah, it's very obvious.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh
It's
God,
Vaughn.
David and Corey can't handle it on their own." Yeah,
It's Vaughn who's not on the show tonight.
yeah, right. So Swift, did you get to go enjoy the march, or did you skip the march after the tailgate, or what you do pregame?
We went up a little early. I was with some folks that were trying to meet up with some other folks. So went up a little early to get in. So yeah. Oh, there's
Nice.
Chico, by the way. He's listening.
Yeah, he's actually watching the show for once. Like we always give him a hard time about what he's doing, but he actually is watching the show. But so Swift, you talked about the tailgate. I know you said you got there really early. We did soccer and coffee on Saturday before the show. What was the tailgate process like this year? Like, were you there for 12 hours on Saturday or what?
Not so much. I got there around like 2:00. But we already had some folks like Chris Harmon and Samuel, who is setting up our tailgates this year. They got to get there early to get ice for all the coolers that we have. Chico usually gets there pretty early too to help set up, and so it's a long day for folks, even when it's not 100 degrees outside. So, we had a lot of extra things going on this tailgate too. So there was not as much room as normal. We had the Continental Tire experience thing. Well, all the stuff that they had. We had the retro kit pop up. Not sure if you guys got
that
a
thing was
jersey.
really cool, by the way. I did not get a jersey.
The guy who sits in front of me was very excited about the jerseys he got. He was telling me about this. I didn't know y'all were doing this, but he was like pulling them out. He's like, "I got this Chelsea jersey with the patch on it," and his kid got like a Japan national team. They were very excited. So at least you had one big fan of that pop-up shop. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, they were pricey, but they are vintage, retro jerseys. I got a Netherlands Dennis Bergkamp jersey, which was nice, but they were pretty pricey, so I couldn't get a lot.
Yeah, I told I saw Sean McIntosh over there at the tent for them when I first got there, and he's like, "You're gonna come in here and check out the jerseys and shop?" I was like, "Dude, I just spent a week in Vegas and like Nevada and Utah. I lost money. I don't need to spend any more money coming back, or my wife's probably going to divorce me after that." So I did not get a chance to look. I did see online, I think they had a few Ajax kits, or an Ajax kit, not an Ajax kit. So if they had that, I would have probably went and looked. But no, they were pricey, but that was a really cool experience. And I mean, they were super big fans of the tailgate. They were there like taking pictures and videos, and I saw them in the supporter section at one point. It was awesome to see them kind of experience Charlotte FC for the first time.
And they just came for this tailgate. It's not like they were doing a tour. They're not going to other cities and things like that. They just came for us, and a lot of that had to do with Sean getting them over here. So, it was a good experience. Yeah, we had a lot of extra things going on. So, I know the Porta John situation was a concern. I got stuck in line in one of them, but I think overall it went really, really well. Again, I think everybody was just really excited and in a good mood.
I heard that the CLT Porta John review account did not get to make it a review because of how long the Porta John was. So I
Yeah.
I heard that. So maybe next home game there'll be a review that comes up for it.
Yeah, I don't know who runs that account at all.
No, we'll never know who runs that account. So, but you see Donnie there. He said they had a nice Lazio kit there in the thing there. So that's pretty cool.
Lazio, nice. I don't know if that equals the same thing.
That's awesome,
they've,
man. But
they've like started this cult, man. It's like, oh, do you like Lazio? Like, why would you like that team? I don't know.
I'm just gonna keep saying Lazio until it's like Stockholm syndrome, man. You're just gonna eventually cave in. You and Corey. I'm just gonna keep saying Lazio. Kind of like
just out of principle. Now I'm not gonna do it.
Principle. That's good. So no, there's some comments here. I know Savannah just said appreciate y'all's hard work at the tailgates. I mean, big kudos to you, Swift, Chico, Chris Harmon, everyone that's involved. I mean, there's people that run the merch tent like Ashley. Like there was so many people that volunteer and help do that stuff. Yeah. I don't miss doing that, but I also appreciate how much you guys have put in your own personal time, and it's only game one, so you got like 17 to go. So
yeah, big shout out to Ashley Rosales who ran our merch tent. It's a ton of work. You have to get there early and just deal with all those people and try to be as quick as possible. So big shout out to her. And yeah, big shout out to everybody that does tailgate, not just for MCC, but all the groups.
Yeah.
Not only do they do their normal day job and like all this stuff and other supporter, group stuff, they're on game days doing all this extra work. It's a ton. So, yeah. But before we go to a next topic, because I'm going to forget, and I do not want to forget, and I cannot believe we haven't talked about this yet. I want to bring up a pretty serious matter. I don't know how to say it, but you guys both were in bands and I didn't know it, and I want to discuss it right now.
Okay.
I want to talk about. I did not know either one of you were musicians, and I want to talk about.
I think musician and having my name next to that word is a very loose affiliation there.
Let's not stretch it. What we were in bands. That's accurate. I wouldn't go so far as to say musicians.
So David, state the name of your former band.
So I'm going to give context before it because it's really important.
No. I want you to say the name first, and then you can add some context. But say the name first. Let's hear it.
I hate this so much. It was called. Can't even say it without laughing. Dysfunctional Fire, but it was spelt with an FUNK because we were a funk rock band. So that is what we just need. Dysfunctional.
Follow-up question. What the hell is Dysfunctional Fire?
Fuck if I know, man. I don't know. We were 18 years old.
Who came up with the name? That's what I want to know.
Legit, I have no idea. I can't remember. I just remember thinking how cool it was that we spelled it with FUNK in the middle of it, and I was like, "Yeah, this is going to really catch on because it tells the people what they're about to experience. It gets the people going, and then it did not."
So you were a funk band. What did you play?
In the band, Johnny. In the band, I was a drummer / backup of vocals.
Is this when you had frosted tips, or is this like?
This was luckily after I had frosted tips, but I had my ears pierced with some gauges.
Luckily, after he had frosted tips, and then he was in a funk band. Okay.
And I had gauged earrings too, for a little bit. That was good too. Yeah.
That's not a shock. Corey, what was the name of your band, and what instrument did you play?
Mine's not nearly as embarrassing, which is really good. My band was called Blind Pilot, which there is a blind pilot who's actually like successful. That's not us. They came after us. I've considered suing for the naming right, but it's fine. Sure. There's a blind pilot. If you Google blind pilot, you're going to find one that plays good music. I like them. I have some of their CDs. It's great. That wasn't us.
So Corey, real quick, before you dive in further, is this I'm sure you're a fan of this because it seems like you're the type of person. Ben Folds, you know who that is, right? And
yeah.
Music.
I love Ben Folds.
So there's a song called Army, right, where he talks about the band, fell apart in May, but then reformed without him in June. Was this what this was? Blind Pilot, crashed and burned, and then the next month they reformed without you, became successful.
No. Unfortunately, I don't know any of these people. I do remember the moment that I was driving the car and listening to the radio and seeing the name Blind Pilot pop up on the radio and being like, "What the?" And that wasn't us. It was just very, very confusing moment. But to answer the question, that's a great Ben Folds reference, by the way. I'm a huge Ben Folds fan.
Thank you.
I played guitar and I sang most of the songs, which will tell you a lot about the rest of the vocal ability of the rest of the group because I cannot sing. I am a terrible singer, and I was the lead vocalist. Like that, it wasn't a great start. I mean, we had we played some good songs, but this is like high school, early college age. We were a 3-piece guitar, bass, drums.
Nice.
And like so in Cary, I grew up in Cary, and it's one of those things where I feel like this is a suburbia phenomenon where like all the bands are metal bands. It's like there's some angsty suburban kids, right? So all the bands were metal bands, and we were like a weird, goofy, like kind of like not funk rock, like we're not quite to the Dysfunctional Fire level, but more like just kind of fun, more like lighthearted rock and roll, I would say, is what we did. And
so Tenacious D. Were you Tenacious D?
No, don't give us that much credit. We weren't like a joke band. We just weren't playing like death metal like everyone else was.
Got it.
So you'd go play these like, showcases or battle of the bands, and everybody else is coming out just like screaming and guttural noises. And we get out there like some jangly guitars and are just grooving around. It was a weird vibe, but it was fun. We had a good time.
I don't even know how to. I don't even know how to segue. But we are.
Well, I will say this:
5 minutes in.
We are. So, just to end this segment here, real quick, I've got a photo of my band. Corey has a photo of him and his band. We will tweet those out after this podcast gets uploaded tomorrow at some point. So,
and they're from like 2005, so they're super low res, like terrible.
It's like so a Canon ELPH digital camera with like 4.5 megapixel. Yeah, that's right.
Math rock is probably the closest. So we have this comment that says Corey looks like a math rock kind of guy. That's probably the closest thing you can call us. We were definitely like more nerdy rock.
Who is Dino Ex Machina? Who is that?
Do I need to edit like the first 25 minutes of this off when we put it in the podcast feed? Because people can be very confused when they try to listen to this podcast. They go like, "What's the soccer talk?"
Yeah, I think we've probably lost half the listen. That's okay, man. But yeah, let's do.
We're having a good day.
Yeah, let's talk about Charlotte FC and the game. I'm sure we will derail again, but
that's amazing. I've got something to derail later this show too, but it's going to be a new segment. I'm going to pilot without Swift's permission, but I'll do that later. So go ahead, Swift. Here, sorry.
Let's talk about the game. But I want to talk about. We discussed this on Soccer and Coffee. Let's start with it's Becca. Becca is Dino Ex Machina. Okay. That's hilarious. Let's talk about the video that QC Royals was asking about for us to explain.
Spooky Queen.
I'm gonna have to watch it like 4 more times to fully grasp what the hell's going on in that thing.
I don't know what's happening.
Wait, have you known what's going on in the other videos? Like, no. I've just never known what's going on in any of them.
Yes, sorta. And but this one, I was like, all right, I know we got to talk about this on the show because we got a question about it. I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on, man? But what did you guys think? Do you love that they've kept doing these videos?
So I love it, and there was a part that I missed because. And we'll get to the TIFO talk in just a second because I was holding up this the TIFO thing or something like that, and I missed part of it. But there was a actual knight on the field. Did you guys see that? It had a torch in its hand, and it was on the field lighting something. And I was like, "This is amazing! It's going from video to live action, and I need more of this in my life." So I'm hoping they continue to do that. But yeah, I love it, but I'm also just confused beyond belief about what's happening, and Spooky Queen is making her 3rd appearance this year. So
And I assume that most everyone is confused about it. And I appreciate that everyone's confused about it, but like the team is leaning hard into it. Like, we don't care. We're just gonna keep upping the level of how ridiculous these videos can be. Now we've got a horse
It's
on
like
the
a
beach.
fever
Guys. Like,
dream.
follow us. We're going with it. Yeah, it doesn't make
It's
any
like
sense
drank
to
a
me.
bunch of ZQL and then
Yeah.
went to bed after.
But like a lot of the people who are around me, like when they sit around me, if they bring someone who's never been to the match before, like even midway through the season, they're like, you got to watch the video. It's out of control. Like, and it's just a fun kind of like, does it make sense? Maybe to them. I don't know if it's even meant to make sense, but it's just like, it's a fun thing. And I'm glad they've kind of kept building on it each year and making a new one. I did like the addition of the on-field night being out there as well too. That was pretty cool. So I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I sent a message in the Slack that what they need to do randomly in the middle of the season, don't tell anyone this, is have Jim Carrey dress up as the Knight from like Cable Guy. Cable Guy, the movie from the 90s, and have him come out with the torch and just rip off the helmet and I'm just derailing the show completely today, but that's what I really would hope to see. Just pure chaos, please. That'd be great.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So anyway, the video was awesome. Yeah. For those who missed it, there was a guy dressed up as a knight on the field with the flame. I see some of the comments, but like, what knight? What's going on? I said we promised we're going to talk about Charlotte FC, but we're actually going to talk about something else. So there was supposed to be a tifo. There was supposed to be there were the cards or whatever, the blue and black cards that were supposed to hold up. The wind derailed everything, so no tifo. A lot of the cards blew away, so we couldn't properly execute what we were doing. So just like in like first game, just like the tailgate and the in-game stuff and festivities, like first game is always just insane. So not everything came off perfectly, but I do want to talk about some of these traditions and everything, David, with you, because you've been kind of a part of it. One of the things we added was brain stew, and I'd like for you to maybe kind of explain how that came about, what it is, why we're doing it, and I've seen some people want to give some feedback, so I just want to give you an opportunity to kind of discuss like what it is and why we're doing
it. So it is a second half tradition that the team has started as of Saturday to try to kick off and pump up the crowd before the kickoff in the second half. Right. When you look at the game, and it's taken us 3 years to get to this point, but if you look at the very beginning of the kickoff, you had the Pepes Poznan kind of jump up and down moment where it surrounds the whole stadium now. Like, it's amazing. See that? It took 3 years to get to that, right? Right. Last year I was a lot more involved in the chant work behind the scenes. I'm not anymore this year, but last year I was really into that scene and helping out. And we were working on an idea of like what could be that second half moment to get the crowd pumped back up, get energy really high right when the second half starts. So that way, if we're potentially, tied, or if we're losing, it kind of motivates the team and gets the stadium back into it. Or if we're winning, it just feeds off the energy and keeps the crowd pumped up and going. Right. And so, we were just researching ideas, bouncing ideas off each other, workshopping it. Sean, who's the chief fan officer, was working with some of the supporters about what we can and can't do and like what's possible and those kind of things. And we were talking, and I think one of the things that he shared, because you're going to love this reference, Swift. He's a Lazio fan, just in case you're unfamiliar. But one of the things they do in Lazio was that they actually had someone kind of kick off their game with a guitar riff to kind of like start the match. Right. And this was even before Nashville did it in MLS, like 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. And so we're like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like, just kind of an idea. And, we started, thinking of different ideas. All of a sudden we started listening to different music, making chants. I think Terry Hines was one of the main people that helped kind of write the chant. And we were like, well, what about this just as a chant? And then we're like, well, what if we do this the second half with like a guitarist on the capo stand and like just pumping up the crowd from that? We're like, that's really cool, but I highly doubt that that's gonna be possible. So it took the second half of last season, working with ops behind the scenes during the off season, working with the supporter group council, working with their leadership, all the different supporter groups, getting their feedback, their input, their buy-in. And it really just kind of took off from there. And so it's interesting that the first. Well, I'll backtrack. I've been like spamming it just in case people aren't aware on my social media accounts for like 6 months now, and just trying to get the word out there because it takes time and effort, and anything that's new, it's going to not be perfect at the very beginning, right? And so the more people that are aware of it, the more people that know about it, that's going to be a benefit to it. So I've just been spamming it nonstop, especially the past like 2 months. And it's now going into it, and it's the first time that ever happened. We had Ryan Bailey, who was a Charlotte FC supporter. He's from the Total Soccer Show, does a lot of online, work with different soccer organizations and news organizations, and he plays guitar, ironically. So we reached out. We're like, hey, we know you're a supporter of the club. I know you live in Charlotte now again. Would you be interested in playing this guitar riff in front of 62,000 fans and leading supporters in this chant? And he was like, I'm nervous, but hell yeah, I would. So then he was able to do it. Now, the cool thing is that each week we're going to have a different supporter leading this. So it's not always going to be Ryan Bailey. It's going to be different supporters from different supporter groups. I think we've already got it scheduled out all the way to May or June with different people each game leading it. So that's me. The really cool thing is that each person has their own guitar and each person has their own flair or what they want to do to kind of play that song. And the idea is just to get the crowd pumped back up and get energy into the stadium. Cause I mean, I was even guilty of it after halftime. It's like, go get a beer, go to hit the restroom, come back. And, you're kind of like, oh, okay, what's about to happen? And, kickoff starts. Okay, cool. Where's the energy? Idea is to build the energy back up. Right. So there's been a lot of suggestions, a lot of feedback since it happened on Saturday, which is a natural thing that people have opinions, people have thoughts, people want to share feedback, which is great. For me, I'm not the one that creates it. I'm not the one that does it. So it's, I'm just sharing the ideas out there as much as possible. But if the team or supporters want to tweak it and change it, that's up to them. That's great if they do. If they don't, hopefully we stick with it and keep doing it each week to kind of build off of it. But I think the beginning part where it's da-da C, da-da L, da-da T, and then it just builds off of that, I think that's going to be the easiest part that's first going to get picked up from fans because it kind of gets their buy-in and it's really simple, right? But yeah, man, it's been fun to kind of see that come to life. It was really kind of a surreal moment to be like, well, this is an idea we pitched back in August, and here we are in February, and it's coming to life. So hopefully we stick with it and people buy into it and have fun with it and get excited about it.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. What I think people need to realize is that we already have 10 guitarists ready. And if we make any changes at all, like it does take time because it has to go through the supporter council, and there's like 20 other things that we're trying to get fixed, or work on. So it can't just be switched super quickly. So if you do give feedback and you feel like you're not being listened to or whatever the case is, one, I would say come out to the chant practice. That would be most helpful and most impactful. But yeah, it just takes time to get these things implemented. If you read the lyrics, it all makes sense. I've seen some tweaks and some thoughts. I'm like, no, it makes sense.
Yeah.
The lyrics, if you actually read them. But again, like, yeah, if people have ideas and everything, come out to the TIFO painting, come out to the chant practice. I know not everybody can, you're not around here, but yeah, that's going to be the most impactful as going there and doing
Hey,
that.
Corey, can you put that comment back up from Rain for just a second? Because this is my pipe dream, or like this is my fever dream, kind of like the weird Charlotte Spooky Queen moment is that if we could somehow get this moment to be big enough over the next 4 or 5 months that Green Day and Billy Joe actually notice this, how awesome would it be to be like Billy Joe's going to come out there and lead that on guitar at halftime before the show on the 26th, right? Like that would be fucking amazing. Yeah. Sorry for my language, but like I would love for that to happen. So if we want that to happen, we need this to blow up over the next 2 months. So spread the word as much as possible.
Yeah, that'd be pretty epic to do that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some other in-game changes and everything. We have a new song at the end of the game that I've got to say, especially in my section, everybody loved. But what other changes, David, did we see game day night that you saw that maybe you've worked on or helped out
Oh, yeah,
on, or
yeah.
just have thoughts on?
So another cool thing that I saw, and I'm not saying I'm creating or I was part of it. I was just there at the chant practices. I got to see it be practiced and workshopped in person. It was awesome to see that, right? And so one of the things they tried like 2 weeks ago was one of the new chants was "I'm Blue," which is off of the amazing Eiffel 65 "I'm Blue" song from the 90s. Again, you're noticing a trend, right? Is that I think it's all of people our age and reminiscing of the 90s. But yeah, so there's a chant based off of that song, and it's really simple. It's like "I'm blue, CLT till I die," right? And it's just that over and over and over, right? But the cool thing is that there were some supporters from I think like Blue Furia and I can't remember if they were from South Charlotte or Norcas or Blue Furia. I can't remember what supporter group they were from. But there was a saxophone player and a trumpet, and they got to be right there at the 75th minute.
Yeah.
And it's I don't want to say scheduled, but it's there to always happen on the 75th minute unless there's like some craziness, like a goal gets scored or something like that. And they're going to come up there and they actually play the tune of that song and that chant to kind of kick it off. And then voices pick up and they do it like once or twice. And then the drums will kick in and it just keeps going and going and going. And it kind of builds up from there. So first time ever doing that as well, just like the Brain Stew thing. I was really cool to kind of see as well.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work on that a little bit because it was hard to hear. I think the wind was a huge factor Saturday night. You know, the tifo, the cards, and then like it was. I sit in 343, which is in the middle of the field. I couldn't hear the trumpets. I was excited and ready for it. So we're gonna have to maybe tweak that. Either add more trumpets. I don't know if we can mic things. Don Garber was in the house that night, so. I think the team was a little hesitant to break rules that night, but he's not going to be there every weekend, so who knows? So we'll have to figure out ways to do that too. And another thing that's it's you know, like Becca, who's in the chat here, she does a good job behind the scenes in the support council, along with all the other presidents and vice presidents of supporter groups of coordinating that and voting on it and working with the other groups to get this all together. But again, it's just one time. And like we've said, it's taken 3 years for the whole entire stadium to get behind something. So it's just repetition, and just hopefully everybody will be patient and not, you know, putting the kibosh on something just because it didn't work the first time. And we'll have to tweak things and see how it's going. But I think it'd be cool. I think the horns could be a cool addition if done right. I think the fans will like it. We just got to figure out a way to make that louder. But yeah, I think the wind had a lot of factor. Also froze my absolute butt off Saturday night. But yeah.
You got to join me on the drums, man. That keeps you warm real quick with banging those drums. Like I didn't really feel any of the cold second half. I'm still waiting for you to join me in the supporter section, Swift, is what it is.
You know, I'll let you young bucks handle that.
I think I have more gray hair than
drums
you, Swift,
and
just saying.
I'm just saying that I'm older and I just want to sit in the middle field. But so, all right, guys, anything else from like in-game festivities, anything new that we want to talk about before we actually talk about the victory?
What was the so I will tell you
40 minutes in.
So at the end of the game, what song played? Because I'll be honest with you, I was on the drums and the drums were being banged and played. So what was the song that they played at the end of the game to kind of encourage people to sing? So I know they're trying to, I guess, pick that up off the ground at the end. Do you know what song that was?
Are you talking about Queen or are you talking about Whitney Houston?
Whitney Houston, sir.
Yeah. I want you to sing it.
No, I am not going to sing
Dance
with Somebody 20 years ago. But yeah.
I was hoping you'd give it a go. But yeah. All right. No, I thought it was cool. Like I said, everybody around me was really into it. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys want to talk about Charlotte FC and the victory now?
Maybe.
Man, at this point, I feel like we should just go out like a full hour and a half and never talk about the game, like the actual on.
We just no. So the joke's on the fans here because we just keep teasing that we're going to talk about the game, and then we'll just never talk about the game. I think it's great.
I'm gonna have to put something in the episode description. It's like, if you want to just hear us talk about what happened on the field, skip to minute 45.
There you go. That'd be good.
If you're down for
people who are watching this live.
If you're down for a good time, you can listen to the whole thing. But if you just really want the soccer talk, you got to skip it up to minute 45, and then we'll get into it a little bit. But yeah, I think it's time to maybe transition to some talk about the actual match itself.
Yeah. All right. So Charlotte FC wins the home opener 1-0 against NYCFC. It was a great match. Definitely want to get both your thoughts on how we played, the style of play, who was your man of the match and everything like that. I think we saw Saturday a real shift in how we're going to play. I do think, again, the win was a little bit of a factor and, kind of launching those balls forward. I'm very interested to see in these next couple games how that really comes about. I was so impressed with the way our defense played. Just the way we were covering each other, the way that Malanda was not left on an island back there. I thought Yuri played amazingly. Malanda, again, if you look at his stats for that game, he was absolutely phenomenal. So big kudos to him. I thought the whole back line played great, but I think what really helped was that double pivot in the middle. You had Westwood and you had Urso, who also had an incredible game, and big kudos to him for just literally getting signed, coming into a new team and having to start, and just had that bite in the middle. It was just really impressive. But Corey, David, what were your thoughts on the game as we kind of talked about specifics and everything like that? What were your overall thoughts?
So yeah, I noticed in the first 5 minutes or so the difference in the way that the team was playing on the field, positions, and really tactics. Right. One noticeable thing is that we weren't trying to pinch in and play through the middle and congest the middle as much. You weren't having, Nathan Byrne or Yuri trying to pinch inward and be basically a double six at the same time as Ashley Westwood, right? You saw more wing play. You saw Tavares and you saw Vargas being more aggressive. You saw overlapping runs from the right back and the left back with the wings. You saw a few more set pieces, and seems like things were more planned on corner kicks and free kicks. And it was so refreshing to see that, because you don't realize it's basically almost the same roster as last year, except for a few things here and there, right? You still have Enzo Capetti up top. Yes, we don't have Karol Swiderski. We don't have Kamil Jóźwiak, but we have Coram Vargas, Ashley Westwood. The back line is the exact same back line that we lost 5-2 in the playoffs against Red Bulls. Same goalkeeper. You have everybody still there, right? And now you've actually promoted Crown Legacy players, which weren't supposed to be upgrades, right? They were supposed to be just no-name player signings that people were pissed off about, right? And here we are playing a better and more pleasing to the eye style of play already in the first 5 minutes on the field. And that was just amazing to see, for one. And then kudos to players like Junior, like you said, that but I know people give shit to the team and be like, oh, we're signing another 30-plus-year-old midfielder, but he's got MLS experience and knows how to play in the league and knows systems and plays and things like that, right? And it's not like he's coming in
he didn't play like an old man Saturday.
No, and that's what it's like. So trust me, do I want him to be playing and starting every single minute of every single match for the rest of the year? Probably not. He'll just get burnt out and his legs will probably go out. But being able to have depth like that and elevate the depth that we have compared to relying on Brandt, Ashley, and Carol as our starting midfield for 90 minutes every match, and then hoping that someone will come on the pitch like a Ben Bender and make a difference at midfield. Hopefully now you actually have depth and pieces where you can put them on and be like, yeah, I know the quality of play is going to keep going. So I know I rambled there for a minute, but I was really excited for the style of play just from Dean Smith overall. But how about you, Corey?
Yeah, no, I agree. A couple things I'll throw out there is I know we talked so much about the lack of signings and the lack of the players and looking at the roster, but we were in our text thread, like when I actually saw the lineup, I saw those names. I'm like, I feel good about this group. Like that's a solid starting group. Now we still need to go out and use those DP spots. We need to make some big signings. That's fine, but I didn't feel bad about where we are as a roster right now. And then again, like to your point, David, seeing the style of play. I mean, it was just a stark difference from the jump of how that team looked on the field, how they were organized, the way they were passing, the way they were moving, the way they were defending. It just was night and day to what we've seen recently. And it's just one game. You know, who knows what happens going down the next few weeks. I hope it continues like that. But it was refreshing to see that and see the way the team played together for most of the match. I felt really good about it. And yeah, it seems like a different, the leadership change has made a huge difference in it. And I felt good about the way things look. And I love that I hope we still bring in some of those big signings, but I like seeing the young guys, those Crown Legacy guys coming up and playing and being able to make an impact and having those opportunities. I think that was really nice too. So yeah, overall and that's what I said even during preseason, like even watching the preseason matches, I don't care about the score. I care about how the team plays. And I could immediately watch some of those matches in California. Just the way the team worked together and played was totally different than last year. And that was really nice to see. So again, we kind of talked about this. I feel like some last year is like, what could that talent of that roster do under a different manager? And we're not seeing the exact same roster. We're seeing a lot of the same players, and the difference was pretty huge, I thought.
Yeah, this season we're not going to have as much possession as we did last season. I think we can all agree we had the ball a lot, and we always said that we're dicking around with the ball in the back. We're just not going to do that this season. We're going to try to launch those balls forward. Whether that be to Capetti or Agamane. Both are going to have a little different style, but I think you saw we were trying to get the ball a little more over the top and let Capetti like disrupt some things. That way our midfield can push up into good spots. And I think that worked. Again, the wind was a little bit of a factor. It was knocking some of those balls down. But overall, I think it's a good plan. And, we mix it up more than just, playing it around in the back, letting the defense set up in front of us. I think this year you're going to see us catch more teams on the break. We have a lot of speed. I really hope everybody sees how talented Yuri Tavares is and how dangerous he can be. He's still young, raw. It was his first game, but you see why Dean Smith likes him. You see why he got promoted. And again, we've said it on the show a couple of times, like we didn't go out and overseas and sign someone. We basically signed this dude last year, let him develop a season, did great, led Crown Legacy in scoring, move him up. That's exactly what this is supposed to be about. And it's a beautiful thing and it's powerful. And hopefully we can keep turning players out like that, getting them promoted. So we're not having to go out and overspend and do all these things. But how damn exciting is it that we have a solid team and we can still go out and get a few more DPs to bolster the squad.
That's huge.
That's exciting. Now on this road trip, we may not win, we may drop some points, but I think style wise, the having the ball with purpose, playing with purpose, I think we're off to a very good start. I'm hoping people are less apprehensive now and getting excited about what we have. Orso was amazing. Tavares was amazing. So it's incredible. But we could talk like some specifics about the game. Who was your man of the match, Corey?
Hold on one second. I know we do this every show.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about Greg's profile picture here on his account here. Again, very stylish, hiking. Like,
who took the photo?
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like,
National
I think
Geographic just was out.
This is like I imagine this as an Alone situation, which is a very niche reference for nobody who's ever watched the show Alone. But I'm imagining him setting up the tripod far in advance and then walking back about 30 yards and then walking forward to film it and take the photo. Right, like film yourself kind of deal. I like this.
Nice. But no,
Greg's comment is spot on, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just have to bring this up. I just wanted to stop that and see that. But he says well, sorry, I just pulled it back down, but he said Urso had the best pass of the match to set up Vargas for our best opportunity besides the goal. So
yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's huge. And trust me, I think Urso I think he had some highs and lows in this game, especially for someone that's never played in MLS. This was his first debut game for the first team. I think he had some really high points, and he had some moments here and there where he maybe lost space a little bit or lost possession or did things like that. But I think overall was I was very pleased to see the quality of play that he had for his very first match for the club.
Yeah. And I know you asked me the question, Matt, so I'll jump into the answer like man of the match. I mean, I'll take the obvious answer, I think, to me, which is Malanda, who was obviously chosen that, but I'll throw up the comment here. He was named for the best 11 MLS and several other things. I mean, I think beyond the goal, obviously, which it took me a long time to figure out who the heck scored that goal from the other side of the stadium.
Yeah.
But beyond the goal, I just think like one of the things that impressed me the most, and people around me who we were talking, was just the organization of the defense and the way the defense played in that match. And I think he was a big part of that as well too. So I was really impressed with Malanda, who I've been impressed with before. He kind of go hot and cold sometimes, but I thought he was really, really strong in this match, and obviously got the goal, which was a big opportunity to be there. But I thought he had a really nice match.
Yeah. David, what about you? Who is like kind of like your man of the match?
So I'm going to go with someone different. I agree. I think Malanda is the man of the match. I just want to bring up somebody different so all three of us aren't sitting here. So Malanda. So Malanda was the man of the match, but I'm going to say another player that was really impressive for me and that I thought played pretty well for the most part. I really liked Yuri there at left back. I thought he played very solid. He made some really good overlapping runs. He also has to make sure he's keeping an eye on someone like Tavares, who is a rookie, first time playing in MLS with this team. And he's having to make sure that he's keeping in space. He's having to have good communication with him. I don't know if you watched the video that the team posted earlier today, where it was like that pregame, the first 3 minutes before kickoff. And obviously him and Tavares were like, dapping each other up, talking already with each other. So, that communication, that relationship's already forming and bonding there, which is super important because they have to trust that non-verbally that they can make runs and they are reading each other's mind before they're going to do what they have to do, which I think is huge. And it was also nice not having to see them pinch inward to a DS6 and just leave up the backside of the field open constantly. So thought he played
Imagine
very well.
that. Imagine that.
Imagine that. Yeah. Look at us. Who would have thought?
I feel like the camaraderie on the field was very apparent Saturday. There were a lot of high fives, and I saw Westwood and Urso a lot of times like giving each other high five. But yeah, Yuri for me, he's one of my favorite players. I keep saying that, and like I think in the second half they were going down his side quite a bit, and he was having to put in a ton of work. I just thought he was solid, but I think Defend the Queen in the comments mentioned Privet. I think Privet played pretty well. There were a couple times I went back and looked, he was out of position a little bit, but I say this all with a big but, and I cannot lie. So Privet is one still playing out of position. He's not a natural center back, right? So big kudos to him. And again, he's starting this year. And again, last year he played a different type of role where he was moving up more into the midfield. I still think there's a little bit of a tendency there to do that. And I think he was out of position a little bit. I know Urso had to bail him out twice that I remember, and Yuri had to bail him out a couple times. But
he bailed himself out there at one point. Yeah.
Yeah. And so look, I'm not saying he didn't play well, because he did. He's been consistent. Big kudos to him for like stepping into that role and like really making it his own. I'm very proud of his performance. I think he'll just get better. It's going to be interesting when we maybe sign someone else or Bill Tuiloma comes back. But yeah, I mean, it's his position to lose at this point. And also too, while I'm out, guys, like if you have any questions about anything, throw them in here and we'll keep popping them up. And I know we got some pre-questions too. if you guys
So-
want to like work through those two, and we could talk more
Yeah.
about the game.
So I know you mentioned Privet, just to kind of have this conversation here a little bit, because I was in that Dean Smith presser earlier in the preseason where he mentioned Privet specifically, like, he's a solid player. He's obviously, I see him more as a 6 than I do as a center back. He could do a little bit more and work on his verticality and winning the aerial balls from time to time, but
Yeah.
like, he's a solid player. And I know Bill had a knock or like a little thing come up where he couldn't play for us over the weekend.
He was actually a last minute scratch, by the way. He was supposed to be on the bench.
Interesting. Yeah. So do you think if you're like Dean heading into this match this weekend, do you stick with Privet just because of chemistry and consistency, or do you switch Bill in there and kind of, or even a Pedro coming in there and kind of making a start here this next week or two?
What's interesting, he played Pedro in a different role
Mhm.
when he subbed him in. So we'll see how that all shakes out. I think I would probably go with Privet one more time. I don't know what training is going to be like this week, so maybe Bill impresses and he wins it out. But I think you kind of go with what you have, especially for this next game, and then see. I think that's what I would do.
Yeah, and kudos to Privet. I mean, I think he's been fairly solid for I mean, he was a super draft pick, like coming in and playing out of position, and like it's pretty, I don't want to say rare, but like you don't usually see that coming into this league that often. And so, kudos to him for doing that. I think it's a pretty big, shout to the scouting team and the front office for finding a player like that can fit into that mold and make an impact already.
Yeah.
Let's give a shout out to the scouting team and front office for their super draft picks in general.
Yeah,
and Crown
Yeah.
Legacy selection. So it's paid dividends. Usually super draft folks, they fall by the wayside a lot of the times. But we've really done well. I'm eager to see what Tiger Smalls can do as well too.
Well, we got,
Yeah.
we even got players like Diop who haven't really seen yet, or, what's potentially there. We've got Patrick Agamane, who's going to come in this season from, that knock earlier. Brian Cambridge, when he comes back, Brandon Cambridge, sorry. When he comes back from injury, you're going to have depth again coming in. And that's not including the 2 DPs that Corey mentioned earlier in the show. Right. So imagine adding 2 DPs and then having these players come in and be healthy. The depth that we're going to have, I think, is going to be huge.
Yeah, agreed.
It's exciting, man.
Yep. Do we want to dive into, since we're almost an hour into the show, we got some questions to work through. We want to use those to get through the rest of our conversation about the match.
I have a feeling this is going to be a 2-hour episode. Yeah. Let's do it.
Oh no, don't say that.
Our wives will not be happy. But let's keep going. So I'm going to pull up this one first. It's not a question, but it's Becca, I believe. This is Becca, right? This is Dino.
I think we've clarified.
Don't
we establish that?
Enzo's gonna get mad. Don't do that. Yeah.
Okay. but she said we have to talk about the Enzo whiff, which we haven't talked about, and I think we'd be talking about more had this game ended differently. But boy, was that was something. So
can we just end the conversation there and just say, boy, that was something. I'll say. Go ahead, Swift. Go ahead.
Sorry. I was gonna say, like, on the night, he didn't get a lot of service. He didn't have a lot of opportunities to get shots off, everything like that. So, and he was working his butt off. The thing is, like, you may not get a lot of chances in games, and that was a pretty bad miss. And it sucks because overall, I thought he played well. Yeah. Work rate is always high. I think he was able to pull some defenders out of some spaces to open up things out wide for us. But those types of misses can bite you in the butt later.
Yeah, so I don't want to rag on. Oh, go ahead, David.
Go ahead. I was just saying, so like, I don't want to, like, I was probably gonna maybe just see what you're gonna say, but I don't want to beat up on him too much here. But like, I will say this: that Enzo that whiffed on that, if he did that last year at this time, it would have derailed his entire game. It would have like mentally just blocked him. He would have been so frustrated. He'd been throwing his arms up, flopping, etc. So big kudos to him for changing his mentality and adjustment to the league already in the first game of the season and coming in and being like, all right, cool. It is what it is. Yeah. I mean, there's been moments where he put his hands up and he's like, all right, whatever, but he didn't let it derail his game, and he didn't let it boil over into a stupid yellow or a penalty that cost the team later on. So, yes, it sucks that he just completely whiffed. Like, that seems like something I would do in pickup game on Sunday, but like it sucks, but like he made a great run. It was a great sequence of play.
Yeah.
And 9 out of 10 times, I bet you he's going to put some contact on that ball.
Yeah. The only thing I totally agree with you. I think the mentality of him, and again, the mentality of the whole team feels very different. Like, it's just the way the body language and the communication and the interaction with the team feels very different. So that's a whole other thing. The only thing I was going to add was, in my memory, this is not the first time we've seen Capelli completely whiff shots like this, which worries me a little bit. Like, he's done this a couple of times at least. Like, you can't whiff on this many great chances. So hopefully, I mean, I'm still optimistic that we see the Capelli we hoped we were going to get last year when we got him. I still hope that's gonna come, but it wasn't a great start to see him just completely whiff on that miss. But otherwise, I was happy with how he played. I don't want to rag on him too much, like you were saying, David. I was mostly happy with it, but that was tough.
Did you I just go referencing that, just the chances there. Remember the Dean Smith quote? Like, I can't remember exactly how it goes, but like, bad players like miss chances, good players, I can't remember exactly what it is, but like, excellent players make the chances, right? And good players take chances or something like that. So it's like something along those lines. Look it up later. I'll have to pull it up and make sure I don't butcher it. But like, I think that's the difference between a good player and an excellent player, is those excellent players are going to hit that every single time, right? And so I think that's where Enzo just needs to make sure he's able to hit those and capitalize on those chances every single match as much as possible. Does Patrick make that shot, Swift?
I mean, he does have longer legs, so who knows? But I mean, I mean, you never know. Like, you
never know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I put you in a bad spot there. Sorry.
Yeah. So the next thing I'll bring up, just to keep moving along, is there's a couple of questions around Vargas, which I did want to talk about Vargas as well too. So two questions.
Sure.
I'll pull up one from Dino. I'm just going to call him Dino now. Would you let Vargas take the next penalty? Brandon Lewis asks, do we see Vargas start next weekend? And semi-related too, I'll throw this in here. Kevin asks, anybody else notice his body language, meaning Capetti's body language during the PK? So that sequence there with Vargas, I thought was really interesting when we rewarded the PK with the handball. Vargas, Capetti was standing at the edge of the box, clearly wanting to take it. And then Vargas very purposefully grabs the ball and throws it down like he's going to do it. Any thoughts around that moment? And then also I would even add in the moment just a few minutes later when Vargas is attacking the box and maybe takes a shot he should have passed on. So there's a few moments there with him that I thought was really interesting. I think it's a little blip. I'm not going to make anything too large out of it, but I thought that was an interesting little sequence there with Vargas. So any thoughts there? I'll start with you, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Vargas did not have a good night, and that's not including the PK miss. I think he made some very poor decisions on some breaks. I think he had another opportunity with that ball from Urso that he probably should have put home. But Vargas is going to be back. He should absolutely start next game. It's just one game. He's got to get that off his plate. I just didn't think he played that well, but he was also playing on an opposite side that he's not used to. So I'm going to cut him a little bit of slack. I think he's a great player. It just wasn't his night, clearly. But, Capetti did say that he gave the ball to Vargas because they're buddies. He's young. He wanted to get him off to a good start and everything like that. But, man, Capetti, get the ball and take these PKs. Swiderski got you last year. So, take those PKs, man. Like, if you're good at them, take them, man. So I don't foresee Capetti really giving up any more PKs, and he shouldn't. He should go ahead and take them. He's the main guy right now. He needs to take them. Yeah. I'm all about being a good team player. I appreciate the gesture and everything like that. But again, those are moments that can cost you. Those are moments that can bite you in the butt, and like we've got to start killing off games. So, yeah, there was definitely some chances at the end of the game that I think we made some really poor decisions where we didn't either take the ball to the corner flag to kill off the game,
Yep.
or like Berchimas, bless him, the 16-year-old had a chance to square it off and like just made bad decisions. And if I had to kind of critique the team in any way, it was some of the decisions we made in the final third. I thought we could have killed off that game, and we didn't.
Yeah. Before I hand it over to David, so I was wrong on that. I missed that quote. So Capetti gave it to Vargas because I missed that.
Yes.
If I said that wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, that makes it a little bit different. But yeah, don't be so nice, Capetti. I need you to be have that killer instinct, because he should have taken it. Like that was my assumption. Why is he not taking it? Like that needs to be his moment right there. So anyway, go ahead, David. Any other thoughts?
No, I agree with Swift. The only thing I would say is, Enzo, get that dog in you, bud. You know, get up there and take that PK. But no,
like it didn't cost us this time, and like we've talked about Capetti's change in attitude. So I'm glad we can have this conversation. I do like, in a way, that he was trying to be a good team player. I do like that his body language is different, and maybe things are better for him. So maybe he'll unblock me on social media now. Like I want that. So come back to us, Capetti. But yeah, Capetti didn't have a great game, but again, I think his work rate is always high, and I'm anxious to see what he can do. I don't know what Patrick's situation is. He had a slight knock, and I'll be honest, guys, like if Patrick was 100%, I don't know, he doesn't start this game. But so it'd be interesting to see what happens on this road trip. That's the
4-4-2
street.
4-4-2. I'm just joking. So.
Now, I don't think we run that.
I know.
What's really cool about this new system and strategy, like, if we're going to be launching balls forward, like Capetti's really good at like disrupting, bugging the crap out of those defenders and pulling people out. Patrick's going to be good, I think, with winning balls in the air, bringing balls down, and laying stuff off. So we have a really cool dynamic, I think, up there. So we'll see.
Yep. All right, so let's jump into some of the questions we got asked before we start recording. Then we'll jump back to any comments we have as well too. So the first one is from our good friend Matt Chantry. What were you most pleased with from the win, either tactically or a specific player, and what concerned you the most? I'll start with you this time, David.
So I mentioned it earlier, but I want to say just the style of play and tactics that we had. That's what I was most pleased with, because for me, in my mind, that's a style and system of play. So I don't want to say it doesn't matter who you play, but like if you get that set and you get the players to buy in and develop and identify talent that will match that style, you can plug, I don't want to say just plug and play, but you'll be able to plug people in and be able to keep that style of play going. You had players making runs. You had balls attempted to be long balls just because of the wind. It kind of stopped and stalled at times. But that was what I was most pleased with, was the style of play from Dean Smith and the boys.
How about you, Matt?
I think we played well in the back. I think we covered well, like I said earlier. Defensively, I thought we were really sound. I like that we were able to kind of go on the break and go out wide and have some chances with Tavares and with Vargas. But you got to give it up to the defense, man. Like I said that we were going to win 1-0 on Soccer and Coffee. And I doubled down on MLS Fantasy. I took Malanda and I took Yuri as my two guys on defense. If that tells you anything, that's how much I believed in these guys. Had Westwood on the bench, but I had a feeling. I was like, I think at home this first game we're going to keep a clean sheet, and I'm just so very proud of these guys. So I'm excited about this season.
Yeah.
So I know it's not a follow-up or maybe another question later on, but I guess just to kind of piggyback off of this, the one thing I wasn't super thrilled about, and I know it could also just be because of the way that our roster is built currently and the lack of depth that we have really throughout outside of midfield. was really the timing of subs. New York got really aggressive
Yeah.
with that towards the end of the game, and it seems like we started to lose a little bit of gas and let New York have a few chances. There was one where Nathan Byrne whiffed on a header, and New York just kicked a field goal basically and whiffed it. That could have been a tying goal. I think if it was the game last year, we would have gotten scored on. But that's my only kind of feedback on that, was that like it seems like the wingers in the midfield got a little gassed towards 75th minute or so. But again, going back to the depth that we have at wingers, we're thin, so there's not much we can do. So I'm interested to see how that's adjusted while we're on the road the next few weeks.
Yeah. As a quick aside,
I was looking at. No, go ahead, Corey. Sorry, I think there was a little bit of lag there, but yeah, I was looking at the clock at the 75th minute, and I was like, "Ooh, man, this is a little deja vu, a little bit. Like, where's these subs, man?" Because I agree, but to your point, David, we are a little thin on where we needed those subs to be. In preseason, we saw like Breck kind of move out wide and Arfield in the middle, but that doesn't really give you a lot of defensive cover. So I don't know if that was the move at all. So I think we'll have a lot more options. We'll have Bill back. We'll have Patrick back. We have Brant that's almost getting there. So we'll have some more options and everything like that. So that's the thing. Like, we won this first game with like a very slim bench, and we kept a clean sheet, and we don't have our DPs. Like, this is really exciting stuff. I'm pumped, man.
Yep, totally. All right, so let's jump to.
Sorry. One more thing. Sorry, just on. I guess I thought Brecht actually played pretty well, especially for the versatility that he showed. Yes, he needs to. I think he needs to be a little bit more solid on the shots that he takes and the power and accuracy that he does on a few of those. But there was multiple times where he flexed out wide, he dropped back, he pushed up. He was doing exactly what we need as a cam to help hopefully do this. Now, I need him to feed the ball to Enzo a little bit more. But I thought that he did pretty well for his first game in his true position for the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll jump to the next question. We're keeping it going with the Matts. Matt Nolan this time asks, 60,000 plus fans have witnessed consecutive home wins at the bank. What do you see fan-wise for season 3? Continued penetration of team in the city's mind share? Stable? Decrease because we aren't the shiny new thing anymore? And I think this is a good question too, because Charlotte fans are fickle. We're a very fickle fan base. So that's always going back to before this team ever started. That was always my concern, is that I want this team to put on a show that keeps the fans coming out, because Charlotte is the kind of city where if things go a certain way, the fan base dries up really bad. Just go to a Hornets game, 2 months ago.
Or Panthers.
Yeah. Or Panthers. I mean, to that point. Yeah. So I'm interested to see what y'all think. This season opener wasn't as big of a crowd as we've had the other season openers, but still 60,000 plus, a fun crowd. What was y'all's takes, and what do you kind of see for the fan base going forward this season? I'll start with you this time, Matt.
Well, the city doesn't have a lot to cheer for right now. I want to say, last year, I think we saw some attrition, saw some attitudes that weren't the best. We weren't winning, we weren't losing, we were tying a lot, and I don't know. I was exhausted last season for whatever reason. I think it was a real struggle. This season though, I don't know. It just feels different. I have more energy. I feel like everybody has more energy and we're ready to go. Maybe I don't know what it is, but like, we got a new coach, we got a new system, we got new players. And I think there's some hope there. And then winning this first game, winning cures all. So we text WFNZ today to try to get them to talk more about Charlotte FC. We need that stuff. We want to get everybody in the city on board. We need news outlets to talk about the team more. So I'm excited about the season. I think more people are going to get involved. Like in my seats, I saw new people around. And I heard a couple to my left. They had just bought season tickets in that spot, because usually, like, kind of in front of me to the left, there's kind of like rotating people. but like there was a couple that bought season tickets this year for the first time. So I don't know. I don't know what tickets sales are like or anything like that, but I don't know. I feel like there's just more energy this year and more excitement. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. How about you, David?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna say, like, going back to Nolan's reference there. I think it made it just stabilized and kind of kept the same status quo for right now. I was really glad that we finally got that monkey off our back, that we were able to get 3 points and score at home with an upper deck to kick off the season. So that's exciting. Do it with the first game of a new coach. Exciting again, right? But kind of similar to what Swift said. I don't want to say that the team has used up the goodwill, but the team used up some of its goodwill last year with the results that we had, just some of the attitudes, the drain that we saw again. We've, like it or not, we sold 2 of our 3 most expensive players this offseason. While it's the right thing to do, us hardcore fans know that. The casual fan doesn't know that. All the casual fan sees is like how I see the Hornets, and they're like, oh, they're offloading Gordon Hayward. Okay, cool. That means they're just sailing it in, right? But that's not the case. Yeah. So Hornets fans know that's not the case. It's the same thing for Charlotte FC. Us selling Camille and Carroll is not us sailing it in. It's us improving our roster. And so I think it stabilized it. I think if they continue to win the next few weeks, I would fully expect Bank of America to be rocking at the end of the month next month if they come back with 6 or 9 points in the next few weeks.
Yep. Yeah, I really think I'll throw this comment up from Brian Marley, who says winning always brings folks back to the bank. Like, that's always my hope. And you touched on this, is when we have these big matches where we open the upper bowl. Like, I just want it to be, I want to win ultimately, but if not a win, I want it to be entertaining. I want them to see a goal. I want them to see the fans celebrate and see that energy around it, because I think that's what brings people back. And I think we've had some good ones of the overall last season was tough, but like that win against Miami at the end of the season, I think was a huge moment to have a bunch of which we talked about at the time, a bunch of fans who may have never been to a Charlotte FC match were there for Messi and got to experience that. Like, I think that's huge. And I do think that, there's some things that maybe are starting to turn off some fans, but I think the crowd this time was really good. And I think what always stands out to me is, when I'm wearing, like on Friday, I wore like my Charlotte FC gear, just kind of out to different places, and even Saturday morning. And like wherever I went, like these aren't like huge soccer fans, but like they immediately saw what I was wearing. It's like, are you going to the match? And we're like talking to me about it. And to me, that means almost as much as anything, is that people see it. They know that the game's coming up, even if they're not going, they're not really super fans. They just know that it's happening. I think that's huge. That it's become kind of a part of the sports fabric in the city, that this is a thing that people are excited about. They know about, and it's a part of that culture.
That happened to me in Vegas. So randomly walking the strip, 3 people stopped me to say awesome kit. Like, I was wearing the new Explore kit, right?
Yeah.
But the cool thing is that flying back on the red eye. So Friday night, our flight out of Vegas at local time was at like 11:15 at night, right? And so, these people are flying back to Charlotte. They most likely either are from Charlotte or they're from the area, because you wouldn't do a red eye to Charlotte unless you really had to, right? Especially through Spirit. But as I'm standing there, I had 2 people come up again, and they were like, "Hey, I love the kit. Are you going to the game Saturday?" And I'm like, "Dude, You're talking to me in Vegas 11:15 at night about Charlotte FC kit, and am I going to the game?" And that's huge in itself. It's like the 90s Hornets gear, right? People see it and they know what the brand is, and the recognition is from it as well, which is huge.
Yep.
Yeah, and it is such a great kit for sure.
It really is. Yeah. It really is. It's so good.
Yep.
By far. All right, so let's jump ahead. We've got so much to get through. It's been so long. All right. Eric Hill says, Coach Smith stated early on that Privet was not his planned CB. With Privet's chemistry with Malanda and in a Smith system that won't leave them on an island, other than depth, do you still see any need to upgrade the center back spot, or should all the focus be on upgrading the attack? I'll start with David this time. I think I'm trying to alternate back and forth. So David.
Yeah, so I would say the priority right now, and then heading into early summer, is the attack. I think the defense and the depth and the players you have can get you by the first third or half of the season. I would still, even though you see what you got in Bill, new system, new coach, new year, continue. You know what you got in Privet at this point. Hopefully Pedro can continue to improve and get some minutes here and there. I would say then summertime is where you get depth at CB if you need it, or go for a starter if you realize I need to upgrade this position. So it's not priority 1 or 2. I would say it's probably priority 3 or 4 on the want and needs list.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. You need to bolster the attack. We need to make sure that we're scoring goals. Especially I think we need some wing help. Maybe somebody in the middle, but yeah, center back. I mean, you have Bill, but keep in mind, Malanda, also needs a break and also needs help. So we do need some help there.
Yeah.
We do have Diop, who actually was playing some center back, and actually Pedro is kind of playing in a different position. So, and again, you saw when he came in, he did not play in the back. So we need some help there. But yeah, I think you can try to get to. I mean, this window is still open, by the way, guys, and I'm
It is. Yeah.
I'm hopeful, and I hear some things that we could get some signings here, and that could be where we maybe bolster that back line, and then in the summer we go for those DPs. So we might get some help in the back, and we need it no matter who's starting right now, whether that's Malanda, Privet, Bill. We still need a little bit of help there, even with Diop, even with Pedro. I would be a little more comfortable getting maybe another veteran back there. But we'll see. This window's still open. There's still room to make improvements. But we'll see kind of what the team does. But that's kind of what I'm hearing. I think we'll see some more moves, guys.
Yeah, so I'm going to jump ahead to a question that you just basically answered. I just want to see if there's any other thoughts on it, but no, it's great. I just want to shout out Greg Fenwick asked the question, do you anticipate any other incoming moves before the end of the window? If so, what outgoing moves would you think could happen to make room if that needs to happen even? But yeah, you touched on it, but anything else you want to add around any possible moves before the window closes?
No, we may see some folks move back down to Crown Legacy, especially some of the folks I think were on the bench this game. Yeah, I think there is a possibility to make some moves now. I don't know if we're going to be going huge. Like I just said, I don't know if we're going to wait till the summer to get the DPs, but I foresee something coming. Yeah.
Cool. David, any thoughts? You want to move on?
No, we can move on. I think Swift answered it well.
Cool. All right. I'm going to keep jumping around some questions here. We got some fun questions. I'm going to come to those later. All right. I'm going to jump over to Ted. I'm going to say Polfit. Is that right? Ted Polfit. The best substitute to come off the bench. The best substitute to come off the bench. What sub were you most happy with in this match? I know we talked about him coming on late and all that, but anything stand out to you?
I mean, I would just say out of the subs that we have, because we didn't have that many, I would say, I think Scotty Arfield came on. I think that's probably the best one that we had. But did he come on? I think he did, didn't he, or no?
Yeah.
I mean,
he did.
He did.
I mean, because I'm just thinking about who came on and when. There wasn't really much impact that we had with our subs in that short stint of the second half.
Yeah. I think it was good that Berchimas was able to come in.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was. Yeah.
No, that's all right. I mean, well, they didn't. None of the subs made really any impacts at all.
Correct.
Now Berchimas, Arfield was the one that Berchimas could have squared a ball to, and he was open, and I was about to lose my. I don't know. I was going crazy in the stands when we didn't make that pass, but because again, I am worrying. I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna get a last minute equalizer. Like we've got to score a second goal, and we just had so many chances. But no, it was good for the young man to come in, get a run out in front of all those fans. It's a cool story. He's a phenomenal talent. We need to get the best out of him pretty quickly because I have a feeling he's going to have a big career and probably bigger aspirations overseas. So, but again, it's one of those things where academy, legacy, this pipeline of players coming through these different channels, we get some good years out of them and we sell them and make a ton of money and just kind of recycle, man. This is what this is about. And I'm really excited about his career. We have some other younger players too that we should be on the lookout for. But yeah, it was really cool to see him. But yeah, all the subs came in really, really late. And it was good to see Pedro too. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, he played a little different position than I think we were all kind of like. I think we all just assume he's going to play center back, and I don't know that that's going to be the case, guys. I'm kind of hearing some things, and I'm hoping he can start training well. I hear some concerns, but like it was good to see him out there, and I'm a big fan of his, and I hope he continues to get some chances.
Yeah. All right, so keep moving on. We've touched on this a little bit, but I'll throw this question from Brandon Hurst. What are your thoughts on Tavares? I think we've mentioned him a little bit. We haven't talked in depth about him, I feel like, in this episode. So I wanted to bring up this question to see what other thoughts you had on the way he played, and thoughts on him moving forward. So I guess if I'm alternating, I'll start with Matt this time.
I made a full video basically about Tavares and a Crown Legacy kit. And I may have been petty and threw it back up on Instagram because I was just like, yeah, see, I told you. I'm a big fan. I just saw a lot of people kind of poo-pooing him and this whole Crown Legacy thing and us not signing players. So maybe I was a little petty there, but he's awesome. I love him. He's tall. He's fast. He again, kind of like everybody, he made a couple of poor decisions where he could have passed it or done something else. But first game overall, I thought he was amazing. Like those set pieces, him and Patrick on the field at the same time is going to be super scary, and I can't wait to see it, even if it's a sub type of situation. I just have high hopes for him, and I hope everybody's excited and kind of see like, man, this is kind of like a good signing. You know, if he were to, here's the thing. If we would have signed him overseas and he came and had the game that he had, everybody would be like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I think it's even more amazing that we signed him last year and had him at Crown Legacy off of our books, right? Which is a brilliant move. And he's just sitting there waiting. So I don't know. I'm super pumped about it. And I'm just so glad that he got to start and played well.
That's interesting because like you're right. I mean, everyone was claiming for Melo for 2 years straight, and I think Tavares showed more in this game than Melo did the entire time he was here for 2 years. And I'm just like, and you and Vaughn both called it. Vaughn was saying like, hey, listen, like this is a guy that Cambridge got a lot of like praise. I know, and I think even Vaughn brought it back up on Soccer and Coffee on Saturday that like Patrick Agyemang and Cambridge and Petrovic and everybody else was getting all this praise, but why is no one talking about Tavares? And one thing, because I'll be honest with you, I didn't watch many Crown Legacy games last year because, like, frankly, I'll forget that they're on. I can't go back and watch them or anything like that. So and not being local, I couldn't go. So I didn't get to see him that much play. When he started playing Saturday night, I was like, holy shit! Like, yeah, he is tall. But he's also a lot faster than what I expected just seeing him.
That's what I'm saying, man. Yeah.
The very like first, I think 3 or 4 minutes, there was a play down the side where I'm like, dude, he's outrunning the defender. Like this is creating a chance now all of a sudden. And then there was like in the second half, he did this like little like back heel kind of spin kind of move and was able to like get past one. So he's got skills. He's got the ability to do it. And you're exactly right. Like if we signed him overseas like we did Vargas last year, and then this was his first game, people would have been losing their shit and buying Tavares kits right now because they'd be like, "Oh my God, he's my favorite player. He's overseas. This is exactly what we need."
Yep.
So he's sneaky fast, man. Just like Patrick. People, I mean, you think somebody that tall is not fast, but him and Patrick are both like really, really fast. And Tavares led the Crown Legacy in scoring, so. He's a really good talent. I mean, still, kind of raw. He's going to make mistakes. And again, there were a couple of times where he could have made better passes. And
sure.
And, I still worry about him positionally sometimes when he needs to get back and everything like that. But again, that's coachable. Dean Smith loves him, by the way. So I think we're going to see a lot of Tavares. He may not start every game, again, depending on who we go out and get. But it's just another amazing piece. Yeah, so kudos to the scouting team, wherever you found him. Good job.
So not to compare players and be mean or anything like that, but do you remember Kamil Uzviak's first game?
Who? No, I'm just kidding.
But no,
yes.
but think about it, right? Like, it wasn't a memorable game. He basically scored a goal in his very first 10 minutes of his very first game. Like, yeah, it wasn't a goal. Melanda cleaned it up, etc. But like, he made an impact in his first 10 minutes. And Kamil took almost 3/4 of a season before he was able to make an impact like that. You know what I mean? So big kudos to the scouts. Big kudos to, Thomas and Lissandro and all those people, and Zoran for the FO creating a deal for this, and Bobby, et cetera, to be able to get a player like this in the Crown Legacy and convince the player to join Crown Legacy and be there for a year and then get promoted to the team, because he probably could have been sold to go somewhere else than a second division US team.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So let's keep moving through. I'm going to skip a bunch of these. Sorry if you send in a question. I'm not going to ask it because we talked too long about.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah.
So I'll pull up this question.
Next time we won't talk about bands and stuff. We'll get right to it.
Maybe. Nope. Don't make promises we can't keep. All right. So Donnie asked 2 questions. I'm going to skip the first one and focus on the second one, which is after the history made last night, being Saturday night, winning the first home opener, the first time we've won a home opener. Realistically, how many points would be acceptable over the next 3 matches? So Matt, you touched on this a little bit earlier on, saying that like you wouldn't be surprised if we drop some matches, don't get a ton of wins out of this, but what realistically are you expecting from the next 3?
I'd like to see at least 4 points. I think that would be. I think we do need to pick up a win. I think a loss is okay. I'd like to see us get a draw. But I'd like for us to pick up a win. This is gonna be a real big test for this team and our defense too. I think playing at home is very different than playing on the road. We're really gonna see what our defense is made out of. I worry about us scoring enough on this road trip, but yeah, I would like for us to 4 at least would be good. I'm okay. Like I said, I'm okay if we drop 1 here.
Yeah.
So to build off that, I would be okay with anywhere from 4 to 6 points. So the reason I say that is because we were all pissed with how bad of a slow start we had last year. We did not get our first points until game 4, which was against Orlando City. And then we were able to get a draw. Yeah. So we were able to get 3, 4, 5 points in the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games last year. So the fact that we're already at 3 after game 1 is an improvement, I think, in itself. Not to jinx us, but if we can get another 3 points, we'll be already at our total for what we had in the first 2 months last year in the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
so I think they'll be.
And huge. I say I'm okay with 4 only because we won our game and most of our division either lost or tied. So we're already 2 points up on folks, or most of the league. And I mean,
except
it's tough, man, playing back. Well, yeah, whatever. But having to the refs help them out. I'm not whatever. But having to play back to back away games without coming home at all, that's a tall order, and where we're going to play those games too is also tough. So I'm going to give the team a little bit of grace here. I think 4 points combined with what we've already got would be a good start. And then we got to, we're home. Then we got to kick it back up. And you got to win. Yeah. We got to win our home games this year. That's just period. Yep. So, but yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Let's go back to some of the chat questions.
I'm really glad that you asked Donnie's question because he got pissed that we didn't ask his question last show. So he called me and said, "So Donnie, I did not plant that. That was all recorded. Thank you."
We can't make Donnie mad. We got to make sure he's
we
happy.
we can make Donnie mad.
I don't think he's watching live anymore either. I think he had to drop off.
Can we
because
we
talked about
filibuster
it.
just for a second here? Because
How are
someone
you
asked a
feel-
question.
Yeah.
So Joe says, Gusler, where did you get that shirt you're wearing? So quick,
Ooh,
shameless plug for
Oh,
the
yeah.
Mint City Soccer Show.
No one's
Team
listening
store.
now, but yeah, let's do it.
Do it. It's fine. So if you go to our mintcitysoccershow.com, you can go to our store. Swift is holding up a corn dog and soccer ball coffee mug, which is amazing. I'm wearing the retro Mint City Soccer Show shirt. I wasn't going to wear my hoodie. Corey is wearing an Edge City hat. Just a quick plug to Edge City. And then Swift has the Mint City hat behind him too. So we launched our merch right before the season started. So we got some pretty cool stuff on there. I think Swift has bought some shoes. I think he made some shoes on there. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, go to
Yeah,
go to mintcitysoccershow.com, go to our shop. We have a lot of fun stuff on there. There are some shoes available. But yeah, go support the show because the money that we make on that helps us fund the show and get to do some other cool stuff that we're wanting to do this year. So we would really appreciate it if you got literally anything.
Yep.
Yeah, to be
Sorry, just quick plug.
No, I was gonna say, to be clear, we're not selling Edge City hats. I just happen to be wearing one, but I encourage you to go to Edge City, the
I
greatest
agree.
brewery in Charlotte.
That's correct.
That's across the street from me, and get a beer. All right, let's keep
The
going.
brewery is not for sale.
Yeah. They're good people. They got Charlotte FC scarves up. It's great.
Nice.
All right. Let's see. This question from Rain. Is there a scenario where teams come calling about Malanda this summer? Which is funny because I remember
They already have.
to throw it off. I remember, yeah, I'm sure they have. I can't remember which game it was last season. It was early in the season. And I want to say it was Taylor Twelman, but someone was basically saying that they fully expected Milana to be playing like top flight French, soccer in like 2 months. That obviously didn't happen, but I do imagine he's a very hot prospect for some teams in Europe right now.
Just keep playing like you
Yeah,
played Saturday, and he'll be gone by summer.
Yeah.
I think I'd be okay to say this. I can confirm that there have been a lot of offers for him. So
which
I
to
offered
me
a corn
changes
dog
the
for him, so
that's
which to me
Just
changes the conversation we had earlier about like the priority of a center back. Like if there's a decent chance that Milanda plays like this and gets a good offer that we take in the summer, then there needs to be more depth in that role to make up for that later. So I don't know, just to go back to the question we asked earlier, we don't need to rehash that question, but I think that does, if Milanda stays for a year and more, like that's fine. But if there's a chance we lose him in an upcoming window, I think that really changes the priorities a little bit about what we need to fill up.
I wonder if Pedro or Diop, if they showed more in the offseason, or if they start playing significant minutes in the next month or so, then I think that will be telling of what their plan is for Milanda long term. But we'll see. I don't. That's me just speculating, so I have no idea. But
yeah. All right. I'm going to keep rapid firing a couple more questions. We'll go back to Dino/Becca. Are there any players except Carroll that exited this window that you would have put in instead of who we have now? So we basically made a big deal about all the players we lost and didn't bring people in. But when you look at the team and the way they played Saturday, are there any of those players that you're like, I wish we had so-and-so on the field? Nope.
no.
Matt's shaking his head. Yeah. Agreed. All right. Quick answer. That's great. Keep moving. All right. All right. Let me click through a couple more here. Russell asked several questions. Good friend Russell Varner.
I love Russell, like really gets it in, man.
Yeah, there's three questions. We don't have time to get to all the questions. I'm going to go ahead and jump to some of our more fun questions because we've been doing this for too long. I need to go to bed. All right. So his third question is, if you were the defender in charge of buying Dino a bottle of wine for Saturday's clean sheet, which would you buy? Are y'all wine people? Do you have like wine knowledge? Because I don't. I can't answer this question very well.
So I'm gonna give my goofy answer first while Swift does this. So to clarify, it's Dino buying the bottles of wine for the defenders for the clean sheet.
I thought that was the thing, but I read the question as it was. But yeah, sure.
Yeah. Sorry, Rusty. So, but it's flipped. But if I'm Dino shopping for these defenders for their clean sheets, depending on how messy of a clean sheet it is, because there's games where you're like, oh, that shouldn't have been a clean sheet. Like we should have been scored on, right? I think there'll be games where I'm just kind of filibustering because I want to say something ridiculous when Swift comes back. Good. So if it was a messy clean sheet where it's like, oh, we probably didn't deserve a clean sheet, like it was a goal, but it got called back or something like that, I'd be like, all right, boys, we're getting you some what's the one that has like the lighthouse on it and has like the bird or the seagull? I'm trying to think.
I'm not a wine person. You're
I'm not a wine person either. I'll buy him some like white Zinfandel if it's an ugly clean sheet, right? Like some box wine, and say, "Here you go, boys. Thanks for the clean sheet. This was kind of dirty, so here you go." Now, if it's
you are a horrible coach.
that's if it's a dirty clean. So you missed the explanation, Swift. Now, if it's a
dirty clean sheet,
some Franzia for a dirty clean sheet is what we're doing here. Like we're just going full box wine.
So then, but can it? If it's a really good one, then I would just be like, let's get him some port. Let's get him some like mead, doing something like just something very exquisite and just big. Dublin. There, that's what it is. Thanks, Joe. That's what I was saying. Like if it's an ugly clean sheet, you give him that one. And then if it's a beautiful clean sheet, you're like, man, you guys really bailed us out here. Thanks for getting us the point. XYZ. Here's some nice mead or some port or something like that. So over to you, Swift, that actually knows something about wine. Look at that wax dip bottle.
It's got wax. You know it's important.
Yeah.
Hold on, we got to spotlight this. Hold on.
Okay,
let's get this up here a little.
That's what you need to get. Bella Glos. It's a Pinot Noir
Pinot
from Santa Barbara.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is good. If you see this in a store, you should get it. Pricey, but it's good.
I just love that I got spotlighted there, and I just went. Eh.
And I'm not a crappy coach. I don't care about dirty or clean sheets. As long as
listen.
I don't even know what a dirty sheet is. Like I
listen.
I would just like a skid mark. Yeah. Yeah, it's just weird, man. I don't know.
So all I'm saying is I'm here making content for the show. That's all I'm saying for it. But yes, I would buy them a nice wine.
All right. I'm gonna ask two more questions so we can get out of here. All right. So one, this question is unhinged, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Roy always asks the best questions, dude.
We started off unhinged. We're gonna close this way. So Roy Coles, asker of many great questions, asks, would you rather be an amazing virtuoso at any instrument, but only if you play naked? Or would you rather be able to speak any language, but only if you close your eyes and dance while you are doing it?
I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off and just say, I'm going to go with any language, because then at that point, I can explain it to the person in front of me of why I'm dancing and closing my eyes is because it helps me speak their language. But that's the only thing I would do. Yeah.
Both are crazy. But if you had your eyes closed and you were dancing and you were speaking in a different language and you were trying to explain to them that's the only way you could do it, they would think you're absolutely batshit insane. So I'm just saying that's probably the better option. Because I don't think anybody wants to see any of us naked playing an instrument. Now, I mean, you guys were in a band. I don't know.
We're Blink 182 over here. That that's how they made a joke that's how they were supposed to pronounce their name, right? Not Blink 182, but they made a joke that it's Blink 182. But yeah,
it's got a nice ring to it. I mean, it's like the Red Hot Chili Peppers with the sock thing. No, but I think I do agree that I don't see the market for naked instrument playing. So I don't see what value that would bring. I mean, I'm sure there is a market.
There only fans, Corey. Only fans.
But I just
worry that's how we're funding the new show.
There's a market for it. Yeah,
middle-aged dad bods playing the instruments naked. I'm sure there's not much of a market for that. Sorry.
Oh man,
probably not.
I do have to bring up.
Yeah, Rory's the one that asked about. Rory's the one that asked about
the sloth.
The what? Yeah.
Yep.
So there you go.
Good sloth. I do have to bring Russell's watching, which I'm so glad Russell's watching. And he said, I knew if anybody had a wine to pick, it'd be Matt. That was a very Matt directed question. So I appreciate that
Yes.
that was there for that. So, all right.
Glad I could
Let's
Do you
see.
see Richard Clark's comment? Richard Clark says next episode or next match, brain stew all natural. So
I mean, you could have the guitar kind of like blocking
yeah,
thing.
Very
only if you're
conveniently
looking
placed
straight
guitar.
forward.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
People
This is like,
people are going to listen to this episode and they're like, man, I can't wait to hear about the win and all the soccer talk. And they're just gonna be like, worst episode ever.
We're so sorry.
Sorry, guys.
We're also not
Yeah.
really sorry. It's just we're in a good mood.
Yeah.
Like usually we use these questions.
Yeah, we're in a
to
good
distract
mood,
ourselves from
man.
the bad stuff.
Yeah.
This is like we're so happy
Just
about the way the
vibes.
game went that we're just rolling with it.
Vibes, man. Yeah.
I immediately went to Love Actually too with the God, I'm making just random references, but Love Actually with the guy who says if he wins Tops of the Pop, he'll sing the song naked and just a very strategically placed guitar. So anyway, all right. One last question I wanted to ask. We had a special guest in the chat here. So Laura Gussler asks, Fred Durst with a with the eyebrow raised emoji.
So I have to explain just to give a little backstory here. So Saturday before going to the game was my niece and nephew's, their twins' 1-year birthday party. So we went to the 1-year birthday party right before the game, and I have my Spotify on the car. And I'm driving up there, and we're out there at Mint Hill and everything like that. And all of a sudden, Limp Bizkit comes up, and it's Nookie, and she is just sitting here looking at me about the lyrics of, so take that cookie and shove it up your shove it up your like that is what's happening in the car. And she's looking at me and she's like, what the hell is this? And I'm like, it's Fred Durst and it's Limp Bizkit and it's Gastonia in the 90s. So like this is happening right now. And so I introduced her to Fred Durst.
Did she not know?
Right up.
She didn't know Limp Bizkit and Fred Durst?
No.
Oh wait, really?
Oh wow.
Yeah, she had no idea. So
wow.
I introduced her to that.
She's living a better life than we are. If she's avoided Limp Bizkit to this point in her life, like good for her.
I can't even
wish
imagine
I could do that.
not knowing. Yeah.
It's a different like era too. Like we're all over 35 here. So my wife had just turned 30. So she's like Fred Durst coming out. She was like 6.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Good for her.
I just had to put this up here. Brian says, I need the red hat. So next episode, I'll see if I can find a flat brim red hat for us and see if I can introduce the show that way. So maybe I'll do a card break
episode.
Maybe I'll do a card break dressed as Fred Durst. You know, be nice. Get some nice Jinko.
Yeah, you got to do
jeans.
another one of those.
Yeah, there's a new set coming out. So when the new set comes out, I'll get a box and do a live stream from that. So.
Do you think?
So
I
go
promise.
ahead, Corey.
I was gonna say, do you think Fred Durst likes soccer? Like, what is he doing right now? Do you think we could?
He's touring. They're making
touring?
new music. Yeah.
Oh,
So okay, hold on. So when music comes up on shuffle like that on my thing, I start just like this is just a dad moment, but like I start Googling and like Wikipediaing people just because I'm like, I wonder what's happened to Fred Durst. You know, let me just see what's happening. So like, dude, the dude was like in like what is it? Is it Bonnaroo, the one that's in Chicago? What's the music festival up there?
Lollapalooza.
Lollapalooza. Yeah. They played Lollapalooza like a few years ago, and the dude comes out dressed like a 70s like Starsky and Hutch like police officer. He has a blonde hair wig on, a blonde mustache, like sunglasses that are huge. Comes out there dressed as that, and then most recently, he's now Cowboy Fred Durst. So he comes out with a country accent, like tight jeans, cowboy boots, big belt buckle, flannel shirt tucked in, and he's like, "Y'all know what time it is?" That's and so it just went down a huge rabbit hole about Fred Durst that I know way too much about.
He's finally embracing his inner Gastonia, is what it sounds like.
Gastonian,
he's fully just leaning in. He's fully leaning into it finally, which is good. That's good for him. I like that. I like that for him.
I think we need to get that image of him in that mustache and a wig as the image of this episode. I think it'd be really good.
Should really set the stage for people watching this and listening to this. So they know what they're getting into. Like this is.
So
This is gonna be,
I've
this is gonna be a
one
weird
last
one,
thing.
y'all. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Go
I've got one last thing before it comes up. So, I'm not going to do it Swift, so don't worry. So, but I'm gonna crowdfund this idea and crowdsource or whatever you want to call it. So I'm gonna get the name of this out there. So I have an idea for a segment for the next episode, everyone, where I give rapid fire questions to Matt Swift, and he has basically he can only answer it in like 1 or 2 words, like yes or no, or a name of a person, whatever it is. But I had this stupid idea of calling it Matt Swift Swiftly Made Hot Takes. And so, like, if it's a terrible name, it probably is. Just tweet at me, share it in the chat, put it in Slack, a better name of what I should name this. But I just want to make sure I give a moment for Swift to just either say yes, no, and it's gonna be stupid things like Matt, like Matt, do you prefer beer or liquor at a tailgate? You know, that kind of thing before the game. And he has to answer it without hesitation with what it is. So please give me some ideas so I can better tweak that moment for the show.
I don't want to do any of that.
You're gonna get stuck with it. Like I'm stuck with the corn dog. You're gonna get stuck with it if people pick up on it.
This is the episode that broke Matt. Like he just won't show up again. He's like, I can't. Him and Vaughn are gonna start the Smart podcast, and me and David are gonna be stuck over here talking about Fred Durst. It's gonna be a real dark time. It's gonna be a dark time.
Me and Corey are gonna make like the middle school S like as our logo and talk about Jinko jeans and Lee pipes. It'd be great. While Swift and Vaughn do the Smart
if
show,
you guys want to
doing this.
We could start another podcast that's separate where we just talk about nonsense like this. So
I mean,
I'm all for it.
I'm all for it.
Matt, anything else
Thank you
want
guys
to close
for
us
sticking with us
before we
in this
go?
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, please, thank you so much for sticking with this. Please make this a top 10 episode of listens.
I'm almost certain everybody wants to get the hell out of here if they haven't already tuned out. But thanks everybody for tuning in. If you're still with us, a couple things. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video. It helps us out. And yeah, if you want to help us out further, go to our website, mintcitysoccershow.com. Go to the shop. Like I said, it just helps kind of fund some of the stuff that we are doing and some of the stuff that we want to do. We want to put out some more content, do some more videos and things like that that are actually soccer related and maybe some Fred Durst related content. Who knows? But yeah, just thank everybody for hanging in there. And hold on a second.
While he's pulling something out, we
thank
should
you
get
guys.
Fred Durst to do the show like intro, by the way.
Right.
Go ahead.
There we go.
Thank you for this, by the way.
Yeah.
Soccer Sheet
Yes.
Hoodie Award. Thank you for voting us for best podcast. Here we go. That is probably
we have to turn that award in after this episode.
yeah. I'm pretty sure we will not win this again. But thank you for letting us win it this time. I do appreciate it for sure.
Tamagotchi corner.
That's all
great.
I got, man.
Yeah. Rain
No,
says look for
let's
Tamagotchi
get
corner.
out of here.
Yeah.
I know
All
I'm
right.
having fun, but thank you guys for the award. Really appreciate it. It was really awesome to win that. So thank you.
Yep. All right. We'll see you next time, y'all.
See you guys. Do I get to sing?